We have got a fantastic guest today. Lino DiSalvo is here. Did I say your name correctly? I've never met you before.
You said it perfectly.
Oh, fantastic. Good to see you, my friend.
Thank you, thank you.
This man has...
Oh, please, come on.
This is wonderful. This man has worked on some epic animation, some of our favorites in our household, Tangled, Bolt, a little movie you might have heard of called Frozen, and he's got a new one that's in theaters in some places and coming to...
December 6th.
Coming to Canada,
North
America, December 6th. It's called the Playmobil movie, making animated movies about toys.
Toys.
But the very cool thing here that I'm starting to realize about Lino is that his story in animation started here, in this building.
Vancouver Film School.
Crazy.
I think I actually animated where you sat.
That's unbelievable. So there was no stage, no EP live set back then?
No, there wasn't. We had 12 computers in the whole school.
That's crazy. Now, you are from New York City, or from Brooklyn. I got to get it right.
Born in Brooklyn, raised in Long Island.
In Long Island, okay. What made you come all the way to the Vancouver Film School?
Let's see. Good question. It's a long time ago. I remember either through an advertisement or some brochure that there was, this is going to sound really crazy to everyone, that there was actually a 1-to-1 ratio. There was one student to every computer.
Cool.
Because back in the mid-90s, the computer needed to run the animation software was, like 80 grand? It was like 80 to like $90,000 just to run the animation software.
Wild.
So I remember looking for schools in New York and it didn't exist. So I came to Vancouver and made a portfolio and got hired by Disney.
Wild. Disney was your choice, right? That's where you wanted to be. That was what you dreamed to work at Disney.
Isn't that everybody's choice?
I think so, right? Aren't we all going to work for Disney at some point now?
Man. It was, well, as a kid that loved Disney movies, to finally get the call.
Yeah.
I'll never forget it. Back in the day when there were answering machines, you guys don't even know what that is. And there were phones that were actually tied to the wall. Someone from Disney left a message that they liked my portfolio. They flew me out for an interview. And I had to wait 3 weeks after the interview, pins and needles. And they called me. And that was 22 years ago.
That's fantastic. Do you remember what was in, your portfolio? Like, what impressed them about you?
Dude, you will never see it.
Yeah.
No one.
We have it right now.
No,
we don't have it. No.
No one will ever see that reel. I animated this little Italian guy.
Yep.
I'm
not
even lying. It was a little Italian guy. I think it was my grandfather.
Okay.
With a mustache. And because Bug's Life just came out, of course I put an ant in the movie.
Okay.
And the old Italian guy was going around trying to, this is so weird, try to hit the ant. And I knew that I wanted certain things because I wanted to flex my animation muscle.
Yeah.
Not that I had an animation muscle, but I knew I wanted certain things. So I crafted this story around this guy chasing this ant. Saying it out loud, it sounds like a terrible idea, but it got me a job.
Well, I mean, the enthusiasm is clear still. I mean, just you recalling it. So I'm sure you charmed the pants off of everybody.
I can't believe that someone was stupid enough to hire me.
What was the first thing that you worked on when you were at Disney?
So when I was hired by Dream Quest Images, which was the visual effects arm of Disney.
Okay.
And my first film was Inspector Gadget. None of my work made the movie, but I still got a credit.
Cool.
And then Reign of Fire with Matthew McConaughey. Has anyone seen that? The dragon? That dragon, I'll have you know.
Yeah.
The dragon from Reign of Fire was responsible for motivating the design and look of the Game of Thrones dragon.
Oh, wow.
Bam.
I remember digging that movie. It was insane, but I remember digging the movie.
Yeah, it was awesome. But yeah, I started off doing creature stuff, but my heart was always in feature animation. Because the thing is, with visual effects stuff, you animate it to look physically, to duplicate physics. It looks so real that you don't even know you're looking at something that was handcrafted.
Yeah.
Like in 102 Dalmatians, a year and a half animating puppies. For no one to know, we animated puppies. And I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I want to do this. So Chicken Little was the first character movie.
Is it a different breed of animator? Like somebody that wants to kind of recreate reality and then someone that wants to make like cartoons?
It's a good question. Yes and no. I think the more you do the visual effects, live action creature stuff, you start getting really good at weight and physics.
And then nobody knows who to give credit to because it just blends into the image.
And if you were to take those principles of physics and weight and the locomotion and you put that into like a cartoony character, it would look weird.
Right.
Because then it would be like Uncanny Valley. You'd be like, why is that cartoony guy walking like a person in a costume?
Right,
It'd be weird.
Yeah, very cool. So you went on to Chicken Little, which I saw and enjoyed, but I was a huge fan of Bolt. And you not only did some animation on Bolt, you did some character work in that as well, right? You did some acting.
I was a voice.
Very cool. Was that something you always wanted to do as part of your...
If this rings any bell, I know that dog. That was me. I was the New York Pigeon.
Oh, that's great. Was that something you wanted to pursue? Was the acting stuff?
No. So at Disney, what's really cool is everyone know what scratch dialogue is?
Sure.
So there's basically it's placeholder. And for most of the films, I would do the placeholder dialogue until they cast the right actor for the movie. And for this part, I was playing a New York Pigeon. So Chris Williams, who directed the film, I asked him, can you let me take this home, take these 3 pages home? And I wrote it the way a New Yorker would say it.
Great.
And then we came back and then everyone realized, but I did beat out professional actors for the part. I won't say who they were, but I literally beat out very well-known actors. Which is hysterical.
What was the team like back then? Were there a lot of people that would have come from New York and have made their way out west to be CG anime? Because that world must have been fairly small.
It was. Well, Cal Arts was a huge school in California.
Yeah.
VFS here in Canada.
Yep.
But I don't remember. There weren't many New Yorkers working in California when I got there, just because I think Cal Arts was such an influential school for hand-drawn animators.
Sure.
And that was almost like the minor leagues for Disney.
Right. That's very cool. So Bolt eventually led into Tangled, which many people, you probably did a bunch of other things in between there, but many people argue, and some days I'm on that side, some days I'm not, that it is a better movie than Frozen. And I'm wondering what you think.
Tangled is good.
Tangled is an amazing movie, and you did the animation for Flynn Rider.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Tangled is good. You know what? I can confidently say this. Without Tangled, I don't know if there would have been a Frozen.
Sure.
At the time, as a studio, we were looking, we were looking for our identity.
Mm-hmm.
And then we made Tangled, and it was clear, like, we're really good at this fairy tale stuff. Who would have thought it? Disney's great at making fairy tale movies.
And musicals.
Yeah. And me as a Disney lover and as an animator to animate these big musical moments.
Right.
I did.
It's hard to even imagine Disneyland or the Disney Empire today without movies like Tangled and Frozen. You can't even rationalize that.
I mean,
they're so seminal.
Let's be serious. Songs make everything better.
Yeah.
when a character is so emotionally invested in how they feel that they can only express it in a song,
Yeah.
it makes everything better.
Yeah. Was there any pushback from you guys on the animation team or the story team, or was everybody, yeah, let's go for it, let's make some beautiful music, and
Yeah.
you were all in?
It just felt right.
Yeah.
You had Glenn Keane, who was overseeing the quality control of the movie.
Right.
And the man is amazing. He helped everyone. We all got 50% better simply being on Tangled. And then that, led to other amazing stuff.
I always wondered about this because obviously Pixar was the prestige crown jewel of CG animation in the Disney empire. And there was some crossover on talent, and it felt like there might have been some internal competition from the outside.
Yeah.
Was that happening? Were you guys trying to, beat the Pixar people?
I think that's safe to say. I've never spoken about that.
Yeah.
Until now.
It looked like it was from the outside. Because I honestly, I followed all this stuff even before I had my kid. I've always loved animation.
It's a very good observation. So, at the time, right, Pixar is the studio that invented CG animation.
Yeah.
They invented the medium.
Yep.
And that there was this aura about the Pixar animators and their workflow and how they were working, and for a while there at Disney Animation, we were trying to mimic how they were working,
Right.
and it did not work for us.
Right.
Because the soul of Disney Animation is in the handcrafted, hand-drawn legacy of the studio. That's in the DNA. And the moment we embraced, let's incorporate, hand-drawn, the craft of hand-drawn animation into CG, boom. Everything changed at Disney.
Yeah.
And Tangled is proof of that.
And I would only imagine that competition ended up being good for Pixar because they could lean more into the esoteric kind of risk-taking that
Right.
studio was famous for. And you guys could lean more into what was working, which was
Yeah.
this sort of populist song and dance, beautifully drawn
Well,
animation.
literally, Pixar. Andrew Stanton talks about this. Pixar had a list of certain things they did not want to do in movies.
Yeah.
And that was singing, and I Want song, all of these things that were the things at Disney we were like, well, we want to do those things.
Yeah.
And both studios complemented each other really well.
That's great.
I mean, the reason why I became a Disney animator is because of the Pixar stuff.
So Tangled is a hit, and it kind of cements this sort of CG phase for Disney. Is it a different place to work after Tangled comes out?
Oh, yeah.
And then you go in and you start work on Frozen, and with a different confidence and a sort of realization that you're going to reach a whole new audience?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Tangled happens. The feedback is phenomenal.
Yep.
It's a really fresh story. And, coming back to the studio after the opening weekend, having a success felt good.
Yeah.
We celebrated and felt like, I was there for many years with films that were really good, but didn't really get the credit they deserved. And then Tangled, it all happened. And Tangled is the beginning to all these really special movies that they end up making.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk to us about heading up animation on Frozen. This must have been a tremendous honor and also a nerve-wracking, responsibility, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, this is so corny, but it's like something that you dream of, right?
Yeah. That is not corny. We are talking about Disney movies. That is supposed to be about dreams.
It's, I remember being pulled into a meeting and them and the leadership at Disney saying, we entrust you
Wow.
with, directing the animation there, and
Who's in that room?
the producers, the directors.
Bob Iger at the at
No.
that? No. Okay.
No. And it's it's crazy. Yeah, dude, I'm just so proud of that thing. What
Yeah.
a great journey. We went to Wyoming, the research that we did. Excuse me, we brought in an acting coach in the beginning of the process of making that movie. And what I learned on that movie, gave me the knowledge to go out into the wild
Yeah.
and start pitching my own ideas, and really gave me a lot of confidence to pursue storytelling.
When did you know? Did you know that Tangled was going to work before it shipped and hit the theaters, or
No.
did you
we
need
thought
the
it was
feedback?
I thought Bolt was a great movie.
Yeah, Bolt was
I thought
cool.
Chicken Little was really fun.
Yep.
And I think that's the thing you learn in filmmaking is you never know how the audience is going to react to any.
Right.
And if anyone tells you they do, they are full of it.
Yeah.
I think as long as you're as honest as you possibly can be with the content, and you're coming at it with truth in mind, you hope that you find. I think all movies find an audience. The question is, how big is that audience?
Right. Yes. So I'm wondering if there's a point in the process, because you do sketches and scratch VO, and you start to put the little scenes and stuff together to kind of see if it's going to work or not. Is there a point in Tangled or in Frozen where you go, we got this. This is gonna blow people away?
So there is one story,
Yeah.
and this is again very corny.
Corny works today. It's all good, right, guys? Yeah.
So what happens when you're animating a sequence? As an animator, you're constantly working out of continuity. So you're always working on one shot before, one shot after, 2 shots before, 2 shots. So in dailies, you're never seeing things run through from beginning to end. And I'll never forget being in the theater and watching the Let It Go sequence
Yeah.
in continuity for the first time. Dude, there wasn't a single dry eye in the whole theater. It was such an emotional thing.
This was like a daily.
Yeah,
thing for you guys?
It was a checkup. It was like, guys, let's see how this plays with everything cut together.
Wow.
Because we knew it was working great in storyboards. The Disney storyboard artists are amazing.
Yeah.
But it's like, as actors, as animators, let's see what we did with the sequence. And it was the first time in my career that I think as an animator, as an artist, you tend to like, yeah, it could have been better. I don't like what I did. Like, you're curmudgeon-y. You're naturally like, I missed that opportunity.
Sure.
And then the Let It Go sequence was one of those things that I remember having this thing
Yeah.
in my throat, like, oh my God, we did that. And you're like, I hope everyone likes it as much as we do. And we know how that turned out.
Have you gone to? I mean, I have a story around that because obviously I watched that with my daughter. It became a big thing, and I've got a video of her walking around with a little Bluetooth speaker, and she's singing the song, and she's just lost in that world. But we saw the live action reenactment of Frozen at Disneyland when she was about 3. And I'm sitting there, it was just me and her because we had broken off from the rest of our group, and we just went to go and sit down, and I was emotional with the performance of these live actors reenacting this stuff that I had seen with my kids so much. Have you done that? Have you gone and watched people perform your music or perform the music from the movie?
Yeah. So my daughter dresses up in an Elsa dress every day. I swear to God, people must think I'm insane. People must think I dress my daughter up in an Elsa dress every day. I have nothing to do with it.
Resistance is futile, man.
My daughter has no idea I worked on the movie.
Oh, cool.
She every single day she wears the Elsa dress or the Anna dress. She sings this song to me.
Have you seen 2? It comes out this weekend.
No, I'm going to see it with my family Sunday night.
That's so great. That's awesome. So, I mean, that's a good segue. You decided you left Disney, the place of your dreams.
What was I thinking?
It was where you started.
What is
everything.
wrong with me?
Why did you leave? Just time?
That is a good question. Dude, my parents are immigrants. They're entrepreneurs.
Yep.
And I think it's an itch I had to scratch. It's a thing I had to do. I knew I was never going to spend my career at one place. I'm not meant that. I'm not designed that way. And then Frozen happened, and it just gave me it. Frozen. My experience on Frozen was everything I ever wanted animation to be. I wanted to work on a musical. I wanted a specific animation style, which we achieved. I wanted the movie to be loved by people. And I promised myself, when I reach that moment in my career, it's a sign for me to move to the next thing.
Right.
And that's exactly what happened. Frozen was big, and my wife was like, remember that thing that you said about... And I'm like, oh my God, you're... Really? So she was encouraging. And I took a few of the ideas that I had, and I went around Hollywood, and I started pitching.
What was that experience like for you? Was it like going back and trying to get into Disney all those years before?
Oh man, it's a whole nother crazy skill set.
Yep.
The good thing is that being the head of animation at Disney, you have so much responsibility that you're used to presenting ideas. You're used to pitching to the heads of the studio. You're used to doing research and development for years. I mean, it's the perfect segue into being a director.
Right.
But dude, I'm not gonna lie. I love being an independent director. I love it.
Yeah.
Get to work with the people that I love. Yes, I don't have the resources that a Disney or Pixar or Sony does, but I kind of like that.
And I guess if you're, naturally progressing in your career and you want to move into direction, you want to be able to have that freedom to go from place to place, and eventually maybe the road leads back.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you left after Frozen, and did you get any other projects happening before the Playmobil movie?
Yeah, so I went to Paramount.
Okay.
I was developing a film there, a musical. Shocker. And then, like all projects, when you're an independent filmmaker, you basically set up projects at different studios, and then the moment another project gets greenlit or becomes a go film, you go make that movie. So my project is still at Paramount.
Right.
But Playmobil started building momentum. We pitched it to the leadership at the company in Germany, and it became a greenlit film very fast. So then we transitioned onto that project.
That must have been a very different way to make a movie too. You're going to a huge international toy line, and you're obviously based on the success of the Lego movie and the eyes opening up on, wait a minute, we can make really cool animation around all this stuff. But it's not the traditional studio sort of pitch, right?
You're like, basically you've got a backpack, some artwork, and I literally, with a team of 4 to 5 people, we travel planet Earth, selling every single territory.
Yeah.
You sell every different distributor.
So because you're a producer as well. You're not just the director.
So you're coming up with the idea and you're pitching it.
Right.
And I love that part.
Yeah.
I love that I'm there at the inception of the idea. Dude, I am a work in progress. I have so much to learn.
Yeah. This is your directorial debut.
Yes.
This is the first feature film that you're getting out there. And, talk to me about how you take a toy line and a character that doesn't move that well and turn that into animation. How do you do that?
Well, the thing is, in animation, restrictions and limitations, they're gold.
Yeah.
Right? They make things inherently funnier.
Yeah.
So having a character that just moves on 2 axes, that's like, we're not going to mess with that.
Yeah.
And then you have to, do deep dives into what makes this toy different from everything else. And then, trying to have the theme come out of the research that you're doing. Like I interviewed 200 Playmobil fans in Europe, and they all mention role playing, and that Playmobil is probably the first toy they ever told a story with.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, that's cool, and that's honest, and it's emotional. And the other thing I really liked about Playmobil is it's one of those toys when you go to the toy store. The set that you're buying, I always looked at it as a genre, as like you're buying a piece of a genre movie.
Yeah.
And they never tell you who the hero in the box is.
Yeah.
Like Playmobil is one of those brands. No matter who's in that box, they can be the hero of your story.
Right.
So that ended up being the design of the whole film is, being the hero to your own story.
That's great. All right, now the Lego Movie was very successful. I think it was very good, but it was
It's
also
awesome.
yeah, but it was also filled with lots of pop culture,
Right.
references and
Right.
characters that we already knew. All right, now Playmobil has licenses. They have Ghostbusters and a few others. Are you working some of that into the new movie?
It's in the sequel.
Okay.
But in this movie, there's no license.
It's the classic Playmobil.
It's either created for the movie, which I liked,
Yeah.
which is all original.
There's live action stuff in this one too.
Oh, yeah.
And so you directed all of that as well.
Dude, there's a lot of firsts for me.
That's great.
There's a lot of firsts.
And Daniel Radcliffe is the star.
Oh man,
Harry Potter is the star of your movie.
He is so good in this.
Yes.
So basically, I remember reading that Daniel Radcliffe is obsessed with James Bond. So of course, I love James Bond, and basically the whole sequence that he's leading, the whole sequence is, again, going back to genre. The whole movie, once the journey begins, is genre jumping.
Yeah.
So he caricatures the tropes in genre films. So, like in every single spy movie, they always find themselves running down the cobblestone streets. And even though the cobblestone streets are wide open, they end up in a bazaar and they knock over fruit stands.
Yeah, yeah.
No matter where they are, they end up in a bazaar. So it's like taking those little funny, silly things and putting them in movies. So when I pitched Daniel, come on, dude, be my James Bond. Be the Playmobil. So we brought him, Playmobil made us a Rex Dasher.
Oh, nice.
To give to Daniel.
Any aspiring directors, that is your secret right there. Make
Bring
the
them
action figure with you.
That's right.
You will cast whoever you want, right?
And then me, like an idiot, I never even thought that the dude's Harry Potter. You must have a gazillion Harry Potter toys. I'm like naive Lino going in there. Hey, aren't you going to love this toy? And he was like, I got a million toys made of me.
I'm sure he appreciated that you didn't point out that he was Harry Potter.
Right.
He probably gets that enough, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Who else is in the movie, and who else did you get to work with?
Adam Lambert is the villain.
Okay.
Oh, man. His song is ridiculous.
That's great.
His song is so good. Anya Taylor-Joy is the lead.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Gaffigan plays Del, food truck guy.
Cool.
Who's incredibly funny. Jim is wonderful in this. Megan Trainor is the fairy godmother.
Nice.
And it's a musical. There's original songs in it. It's about family fighting for each other. Again, being a former Disney artist, I just love movies that have an emotional, core to them.
Sure.
And being a dad, and I mean, this really is a love letter to my family. A lot of how I play with my children is in the movies. The whole genre jumping thing. It's the way my kids and I play. My daughter, no matter what we're doing, is always sprouting fairy tale wings on all the characters. That's in the movie. It's a big part of the movie.
Did you cast any of your family members in this?
My wife helped me tremendously in this. Everything from doing voices, to writing, to being referenced for the animators.
Cool.
It's definitely a family affair.
That's wonderful. I always wonder about this with creatives, right? Because you give your whole life to a project like this, and you work for many, many years, and then you, like the song says, you let it go. But how do you let it go? And how do you just put that and just close the door on that and say, okay, now I don't think about that. I'm working on the next thing.
It's exciting.
Yeah?
Oh, I love that
you
part.
Just poof, it's like a balloon or
because
something?
And for everyone that's here, the thing that's really great about this job is every project is an opportunity to learn something else. Like when I was an animator, it was about learning the locomotion of pigeons and dogs and human behavior, right? Every project, you're almost becoming an expert in that subject matter.
Right.
And the new thing I'm developing now is about Italian mythology. And, you know, I'm an Italian American. This is a very near and dear story to me. And I was in Rome a couple of weeks ago, get to take trips to Italy.
Cool.
And I get to...
That's a very smart decision you did right there.
That's right.
That's wonderful.
Research, it's all research in Italy. Don't mind me in restaurants all the time. It's all research.
But you said before we were rolling, you just became a vegan. And you're going to Italy. They have great vegetables there, but...
It's a good place to be vegan,
Yeah, I guess
actually.
it is, yes.
Except the cheese. But
yeah.
5 weeks.
Good job.
And I feel great. I'm not missing a steak at all. Do I look like I'm missing steak?
Nope, not at all. We'll see how that fares, though, in Italy, though. We'll see
right.
how long you last
That's right.
cruising around Italy. When can we expect December 6th is the Playmobil movie, so that's coming up soon.
Guys, go see it.
Everybody here going to go see it? Yes? Supporting Lino and his family and creativity.
My kid needs new shoes. Come on.
And the next one, when do you expect the next film will be available?
2022.
2022. Okay. Awesome. Lino, fantastic
Great
to meet
meeting you.
Good luck with the Playmobil
Thank
movie,
you.
and we'll have you back as soon as you can come back
Great.
to Vancouver.
Thanks, everybody.